Welcome back to the kickoff, and that was not what we expected. Manchester United dig out a hard-fought draw at Anfield. I just need to let KG have a little moment. This must be quite satisfying for you, bro. I've got to let him have the moment.
Road to 41 points, mate. And I'm telling you now, I didn't give us a chance. After we got massacred by Newcastle, I thought, it's only going to get worse. We're playing the best team in the Premier League. Yeah. We're finished. I was shameless enough to make Salah my FPL captain. I was prepared for a shanking of a lifetime. And guess what happens? Man United say, not today, with the generational spoilers. We have this thing that we do, like, we are the police during COVID. We're going to come to your house and say, no parties, mate, not today. We are ruiners, bro. We will spoil what you want to do. And it was just, it was poetic. It was a lovely moment. We should have won. Imagine it ended the way we thought it was going to end with that last chance. Imagine Xerxes to Harry Maguire, two of the most unlikely players.
Xerxes to Harry Maguire. Imagine Xerxes, the striker who has it on his preferred foot, just takes the shot.
I was texting me mate saying Xerxes for the winner. It's written. It's just, and then he finally gets a bit of appreciation. But look, it didn't end that way. All right.
It didn't end that way.
And there is a Jekyll and Hyde situation here where you're like, what on earth has happened to Manchester United to play the way they did against Newcastle at home and then come to Anfield, the hardest place in the world to play right now, and to play like that? That's something we're going to have to tackle later on in the video. We'll do the goals. The first goal, Trent gives the ball away and basically walks after it with zero urgency. The ball's played through. And what a finish by the Butcher. Before we appreciate that finish,
Frodo.
Trent, man, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I mean, this is your boyhood club and you can't even be asked to, like, run. You're a right back.
Do you think, just quickly, do you think that came out of, like, non-willingness to actually run after it? Or do you think it came out of not understanding the game well enough? Because I don't think he realises that Bruno's going to cut it through that space. I think he thinks the ball's about to be switched. Either way, not good enough, but where did you think that?
I think there's something deeper going on there. Real Madrid put in a transfer request for this player. They've left it so late, and we was alluding to it before. It gets to January, European teams can put in a bid for him. He already's thinking about PR, and footballers are about their PR right now, and it just looks ugly. He's about to leave. You know when a player's mind is outside of the club? You saw it with Pochettino when he was linked to Man United. Every kind of coach or player, as soon as this other stuff off the field come, and it's really, his legendary status is almost in question at the moment. And I don't know if he's hoping, I don't even know what the move is saying, you know what, put in a bid for me. And then, cause you wouldn't sell a player when you're fighting for a title, but I know he just thinks, I can't leave the club in this way. I think his mind is not on the pitch, and you can see a lack of concentration because Trent, yes, he's been bad defensively, but you can't do that. This man has got one mind in Real Madrid, in the sun, with Bellingham. He already spent pre-season with these guys, and he's not focused. He's lost focus in the most key time of the season of fighting for a title. I don't think he even believed it was going to be here.
It's a hard one with Trent because they've let him get to that point of his contract, and no matter what the player does, they knew that this could happen at this stage here.
Yeah, I think that Trent is, the fact that it's not just Trent and that it is Mo Salah, Van Dijk and Trent points to the fact that this ownership of this club have been treading water and been very, very fucking lucky up till now. And I think they're lucky that a lot of their signings came off under Klopp. And they've been complacent, lackadaisical, and now they're being caught out and punished for it. I'd be surprised if Trent stays. When you get into this stage, when Real Madrid are putting bids in for you, I seen Michael Owen make a comment about how his situation went with them. They don't start offering money if you're not interested in going.
Yeah.
That's
and
just
also,
not what they would do.
And also, they've offered 20 million quid for him in January, apparently. Yeah. So, let's be honest, the best move for Liverpool right now might be to take that 20 million quid and run. I've never seen
in a title race.
Not in a title race, surely.
But listen. I've never seen an offer that high in January for a player that's out of contract in six months.
It's crazy.
You've never seen that. So like I said, it's the best thing for Trent probably to go for him, his career. He gets to go play with his best mate, as KG was saying, in Bellingham. And then Liverpool can recoup the money. If he's not going to sign a contract, I think they should sell him now.
Psychologically, I wonder if Trent has had a conversation with Real Madrid behind closed doors and went, I'd rather be bought than go on a free transfer, because that's the thing that's going to look really bad on him. Whereas if Liverpool are complicit in selling him, then he might not be, as villainized as he will be if he goes on a free. You can imagine.
He could be the difference in, I don't know if he'll be cup tied. I don't know if that still counts for the Champions League, but he could be the difference in them winning the Champions League. And I think that's something that probably leaves, if there's anyone's going to be a competition for Liverpool in the Champions League, it is Real Madrid. We always see those teams near the end, and to say we got him for 20 million, and that's really what's at stake here. It's a player that's got his mind off the main prize. That performance, Diogo Dalot is gash. I'm sorry to say it. He's rubbish.
That's what I was thinking.
To be real, he is rubbish, and he made Diogo Dalot look incredible. He looked brilliant. I can't lie. And then you have to have some level to talk about. This is probably one of the best players England has produced in Trent Alexander-Arnold. And for him to let Diogo Dalot run rings around him, and Virgil van Dijk is giving him the evils, thinking, what are you doing? Your mind is not where it needs to be. You're thinking of what is the best way out.
Virgil van Dijk did, there's a quote from him, the way we conceded both goals was unacceptable and lazy. They shouldn't happen. Clearly, I think he was pointing the finger. We will move on to the equaliser, because there was another defender who ended up in shit. Gakpo turned De Ligt, and for the second game running, De Ligt is on his arse sliding along the floor. It's not a good look for the kid. Same as Isak did to him. And then, to be fair to Gakpo, a bit of a coming of age season for him, really, because he's been not anonymous, but it's certainly not worth the kind of money they spend for him initially. And when he puts that away in the top corner, he has this this Van Persie type finishing sometimes. Like, he really is deadly. It was a great finish, but De Ligt exposed again for the penalty with his hand in the air as well. That was another one. A 2-1. You're saying harsh, mate.
It's harsh. It's like that Newcastle Spurs one.
He looked like my nana when she wins the bingo, mate. His hands was up here, right? It was nothing like Joe Linton. It was absolutely... The fact that Man United was saying it's like Joe Linton, I'm like, come on now.
It's harsh, mate.
It's totally different. It's 180 degrees different.
Listen, you know what we've done, which is shameless, is we forgot, because we always give this guy a lot of shit. We haven't spoke about the finishing from Lissandro, but it's fine. We'll talk about Cody Gakpo's goal, but Lissandro was amazing.
It was a
we
beautiful
all saw it. I know we want to move over. I saw the meme in the group as well. Lissandro in all that snow, mate. I saw that. You pricks.
Oh God.
No, Lissandro's finish was better. He had to score it past a better goalkeeper, and he's a defender. That was a better finish, to be fair.
It was quality, yeah.
And he looks down the line as well, like they're looking down the line like a striker, like you. It's the cheeky.
We found his actual position. We finally found what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. Centre back making those sort of runs, though, it does show like an attacking prowess from him. Coming back to Cody Gakpo, though, he started to come good around the end of last season, though. You could start to see something there. Him and Gravenberch, they've been the two that have shocked me for Liverpool this season at how consistently good they've actually been.
The little come under scrutiny. This guy's an all-action defender. I've seen so many slides off the line, even on his days at Bayern Munich. Ugarte did lead the position. Yes, he probably could have stood on his feet and tried to stay in position, but he was trying to block the cross. I'm not really too angry at De Ligt in that moment. I do think he's been a solid find, and not been amazing, but I think he's been decent. I think he's been good.
Josh, you're pretty good with the rules. What do you make of this penalty?
His hand's in an unnatural position, isn't it? Like, as you say, if you're calling out bingo cards, then, something's got to go wrong. Joe Linton's hand is right next to him down below, and his hand is so far up in the air. I think you do have to give it. And the thing is, what is always going to happen with these VAR shots. And this is what I was saying in that video the other day. I feel like if that was in the penalty area, they might have ended up giving that Joe Linton one. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it would have been completely different. Because as soon as the VAR goes over to the monitor, you know they're going to pause it. They're going to hold it in that moment, and it's going to always be a penalty. The thing that I really struggle with, and I think they might need to rewrite this rule, is like, it's a free shot on goal, right? Was that going anywhere near the goal in terms of like a very dangerous position? Like, was the goalkeeper just going to sort of lap it up? I do think we need to sort of talk about,
like, context is actually more important here. Like, are you blocking an actual potential goal, or was that shot going miles wide anyway, and you just accidentally got your hand there, in which case we're going to let you off? Again, a movement towards common sense is a good thing, in my opinion.
No, but then you have to understand, in the Premier League, if we started to do that, if we gave the grounds for we thought it was going to be on target, we know they're going to mess it up.
The equaliser for 2-2, Garnacho found space in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold again. A great pass to Ahmad for a great finish. I felt like they deserved it at that point as well. Like, I was like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Like, fucking good performance.
Ahmad's the bollocks, isn't he? Like, what a find he is. I think, what's that? 9 goal involvements, I think, in 13 starts for Amad Diallo.
He's taking liberties. He's taking liberties. And I think the fact is, I love the fact that he's kissing the badge, because he's in contract negotiations right now. Like, we actually need him to sign. Like, a European giant could sign Ahmad, and there's nothing we could do about it. He could leave on a free. It's just lucky, like, seeing him on, it's actually ridiculous that we've done that with a player like this. But then one thing we saw is, on pre-season, I asked him the question, you know, like, you're finally getting your chance. How do you feel about Man United? And he says he wants to stay here his whole life. Like, he loves the club. He just wants to be a part of it. So, and you can feel that.
That's so weird for me though, because it's most of the squad do not look like they have, like, generally the same opinion as him. Like, most of the squad, body language wise, for the last 2-3 years, 2 years, have looked like they want to get out as quick as they can.
Yeah.
So those are the players you need to build around. And I can't let a Man United video go by without mentioning Ten Hag. It does wonder, you know, why the fuck he never got his chance under Ten Hag for so long, when every time he turned up and every time he got off the bench, he delivered. You know what I mean? And
we'll never forget Ten Hag playing Amari Forson ahead of him. That's crazy. And he was another one in contract negotiations, but they both were. Amari was going to leave on a free or something. And the fact that we have allowed, this player, or even we've dropped him for no reason for the likes of Anthony, it just goes to show that we were moving mad with
when you had him the whole time, why even buy him? We'll have to go into Amorim. Amorim's post-match interview. I really liked it. I actually do like this guy. He's quite a likable dude. He's going through it right now as well, and he's handling it as good as you can in terms of the interviews, right? We've seen the likes of like Pep Guardiola looking like he's going through some serious shit when he's having a few defeats. This guy's taking it on the chin pretty well, and he's given good answers. And he just said, look, like, good performance, but I'm so angry with the fact of that is possible from these lads when the mentality is right, when we're competing for every ball and not just like looking like a scared bunch of kids at Newcastle. And he's saying, I'm actually really angry. What did you make of him? Instead of focusing in on the positive and praising the players, actually saying, well, you know, this is actually what was possible the whole time, and that you basically fucked me over here.
Winner's mentality. I like it. It's good. And listen, it's hard now for Man United because they got a little run of games. They got like Southampton in there, Ipswich, Everton. I think they've only really got Brighton, Fulham, Spurs. They're a little bit harder, but they've got a run of games now where really you look at them and you think, right, with the mentality you showed in that match, and you should be able to build off that. Ultimately, though, when you look at the Man City game, they followed that up with 4 losses in all competitions, 3 of them in the league where you haven't scored a goal. So I think that he's within his right to be annoyed because he understands, look, this is what you lot can do. You can compete on this level. And this is without me even really putting my stamp on the team just yet. But Hojlund, man, we skipped over that opportunity. Like, he goes through on his preferred foot, doesn't score, and if it's a one-off moment, yeah, it's all right. But it's I know he does quite well in the Europa League. and whatnot, and his numbers are decent, but 12 goals in 45 starts, I think it is, for Man United now. Like, it's not really good enough.
Is he officially a flop, lads? Is this like, are we now calling it on him? Like you're going to have to do a madness one season to turn this reputation around, because reputationally, has the time been and gone for him to show up?
How much did they spend on him,
Was he saying
KG?
it's a total 72 million?
Oh, well, he could fall into flop territory. I was going to say it's mid between.
Would you say,
You spent 9 million more on Hojlund than we spent on Isak. Let that sink in.
That's true, but Isak is generational.
I know he's special,
right now. Isak is something different.
He's just not even doing what he the bare minimum for me, Hojlund.
And people say I defend this player a lot, and he was one thing about Hojlund that is a disgrace is his hold-up play is the worst, probably some of the worst hold-up play I've ever seen in my entire life.
Which
and
is
it's
so
making
important.
him worse.
If you want to be a number 9, you got to fucking hold the ball up and be stronger. And it's so easy to bully this kid.
And everyone does it. It could be you can be a slight centre-back. You could be whatever type of centre-back you are, you're going to have fun playing against Rasmus Hojlund. And I don't know if he's getting into flop territory, because obviously first in the league that's at before Atalanta, 15, close to 16 goals, comes to Man United, repeats that. Obviously these goals are in other competitions. The bread and butter is the Premier League. Having two goals in the Premier League and taking one shot per game is not good enough. Like, it is poor.
He needs to build his body up, in my opinion, though, because Isak recently, if you look at this season's Isak versus previous, you can tell he's been in the gym a bit more. He's looking more like a number 9 who can actually hold the ball up. But Isak isn't like built like a brick shithouse. Like, I just think that Hojlund needs to work on his
strength. Call a 20-year-old a flop leading the line at Man United when he's like, because he shouldn't be. If we look, think of Man United teams in the past, there is no way we have one striker. That doesn't make any sense. In my years of supporting Man United, I have never seen us be this barren. Even in the years of Martial and Cohen, and so, there was a few, and that was a bad time within the Martial era. But the fact that we've just got Rasmus, because Xerxes doesn't play as a raw 9. He's not a true 9. He's as he says, a 9.5. Man United having one striker being 20 years old is an embarrassment.
That's the thing that gives me a bit of slack on him, where you're thinking you really shouldn't be carrying this load at this age. But here we are.
Yeah, but then last season there was constantly the thing of like, he's not getting the service and that. Whereas this season, I'm not saying he's getting elite service, but he's getting a lot more than last season. I've seen a lot of opportunities that I'm looking at and I'm like, you should be putting them away, man.
That formation, though, that formation isn't set up to give loads of service to Hojlund. We saw it with the Chelsea back five. Sometimes we did isolate that number 9, and I'm sympathetic to Hojlund because I do think he needs more service. He needs more bodies in and around him. I saw there were moments in that game yesterday where he did seem incredibly isolated. Like, you saw that block of 4, he was very far in front. So while I think the price tag is always going to be over him, much like, every other big money signing. Like, I do think he needs more options. And you know what, right? If Man United do pick up their form and they go sort of higher up the table, Hojlund will get more chances. I do think if you look at the teams around where Man United are right now, they don't really have outstanding number 9s, do they? Because they just don't get their opportunities.
This is a real opportunity for Manchester United. Like, after Newcastle drew 3-3 with Liverpool, that really gave us like a wake-up call of what our level could be. And it was a bit hit and miss around then. But then we went on a run. We won fucking 6 in a row and we just looked like a completely different side. The question is, can Manchester United do that? And the worry I would have is, we've seen the performance against City. They turn up, they're scared. When Man United players are scared of being humiliated, they actually show up the same way they did against Liverpool. It's when they're comfortable. It's when, as Amorim has said, it's when they're expected to win. Now, the question I'll start with Josh. Do you think that this is a bit of a fluke in that Liverpool have massively underestimated Man United and Man United have turned up firing on all cylinders, and that after this, Man United will just drop back into their normal habit?
I understand why a lot of Man United fans take a lot of encouragement from a game like that. Like they are seeing good performances. I do think the midfield was considerably improved. I think the back line are sort of drawing some chemistry. But then you've got Southampton next in the league. I'm just talking about league fixtures for the time being, right? You've got Southampton in the league, which should be a guaranteed win. If you don't win that, then fuck me, then there's real issues. But then you've got Brighton at home. Brighton are playing incredible football at the moment. I think they're really underrated. Then you've got Fulham, who have just beaten Chelsea. They're a really, really good side as well. Very well drilled. Good manager. They're flying high. They're really where Man United should be in the league, if you think about it. Then Palace, who are resurgent. Tottenham, which, anything could happen in that game. Everton, which could easily be a 0-0. Ipswich, again, no one knows.
They look like
and then Arsenal. So when I'm looking at that run, I'm not thinking slam dunk, easily get out of this run of form, go up the table. I'm thinking this is going to be a really hard run of form.
It's also a great test for Amorim, right? Because you're not going to get the players' mentality to just switch on automatically because they're terrified of what's in front of them. This has to come from within Manchester United in this next 6 games or whatever, because they are beatable. As much as Josh has just said, they're not easy. It wasn't that long ago Man United would regularly beat those kind of teams. So it's just about how much do these lot want it? And it was interesting in Martinez's interview after the game, how much he talked about mentality and we changed the way we viewed the game. And I thought to myself, and I'm sure Man United fans did, why the fuck don't you do that more often then? If it's that simple, then what are we doing here?
This was Amorim's first week on the training ground with these players. And this is why I really he's resonating with us Man United fans as a coach, because he just does communicate excellently, really. And the main thing that he's talking about is this is a different situation and Man United need a shock. They need a wake-up call. We've rested on our laurels. And he said that's throughout the club. And you can see it from our attitude towards the transfer window, our attitude towards games, our attitude just at home. Everything we're doing has been subpar. And I think it's right that this manager's really called us out. And he said, I need leaders. I know Casemiro, he's talking about the situations. Casemiro at Real Madrid, he's a leader. We're fighting relegation. I need leaders in this moment. I've seen Harry Maguire go to hell and back. He needs to be a leader in this specific situation. And finally, you got it was a leadership, but that's probably the best I've seen Bruno Fernandes play in a big game in a very long time. Bruno Fernandes has let us down. He's been flailing arms. He's embarrassed himself, especially in his fixture as well. He's really embarrassed himself. But Bruno Fernandes was almost, would you say, frugal with the ball, making good decisions. We had Ugarte. I thought that's probably been one of our finds of the season. You saw the difference of Eriksen and Casemiro. You lot had your way with us. When you put Ugarte in that midfield, it's different. It's totally different. And finally, I want to say Kobe's starting to show the reason why he got into the England team. But I think things are just getting together at the right time, and it does start with the manager instilling a mentality of this is how it's going to be here. You've looked at Garnacho, the dyed hair is gone. You know that all the stuff came out about how he was acting before with the manager. The manager says, I look at everything. Rashford's still not there. This is 5 games. You can tell he's gone in there and said, it's my way or the highway. I need this from you guys. No hiding. And finally, because he's the Ineos's pick, they're going to back him. I don't think Rashford another manager would have got away with dropping the most expensive the highest earning player of the team. It never would have happened.
If there's one thing I think that is too much of in this Manchester United team, when you look at the flailing arms of Bruno Fernandes, when you look at some of the moaning and complaining from Hojlund, Garnacho, Rashford, they feel sorry for themselves.
Yes.
Oh, poor, pitiful me. It's the complete wrong mentality. It's like the opposite of what you're supposed to be so grateful for an opportunity to live out our dreams to play in Premier League football like that at that level. And yet they're constantly, it's not fair. And I think that was the main difference in this game that I've ever seen in Manchester United in a long time is they weren't feeling sorry for themselves. They were excited to compete for every single ball. And I do look at Amorim and I think to myself, when he says things like this whole club is too comfortable and I am challenging them in every way, every single day, it made me go, well, because Ten Hag never spoke with that level of fire, with that level of intensity. He was such he could send a glass eye to sleep. So, if this guy, with his intensity and his desire, clear, as Joey's pointed out, a born winner, If he can't get this lot to do anything and to revive them to a respectable degree and then build from that, then that club's fucked, really.
Do we expect that this season, though? The manager definitely needs to be given the leeway here to be like, right, okay, we understand that it's going to be difficult until you really get your hold on this squad. But when you look at your games now, couple of good wins, you can move into that top half of the table potentially. And as Brian was saying there, in terms of respectable positions, I know people will banter it because of the stature of the club, but just finish in that top 10 would be set decent enough for this season and then build on it.
What we got to do, though, and I think the main thing that we're all looking at is the striker. As you lot are giving Rasmus the fair critique, there's something happening with Rashford and whatever's going on in Italy. There's some movement. I know Osimhen is someone that we're really looking at, but that's Rashford's 5th game, and apparently he was out due to illness. He's not for the manager. It's not illness. The guy just came back with a fresh jerry curl for the Newcastle game. This guy is as fit as you like. He just needs to play football, and his brother must be they're trying to get a move out. If we can get rid of Rashford in this window, I fancy us turning our season around. I think a striker is key.
Can we just touch on Liverpool before we round this up, boys?
Yeah.
Probably their worst performance of the season as a collective, and yet still, had the better XG, had very good chances throughout the game. Mo Salah, quite an interesting one. He's already got, I think, 3 more goal involvements this season in January than he had in the entirety of the last Premier League season. So to say he's in form would be an understatement, right? He's literally basically done his whole season last season in half a season. That's how in form he's been. Is that sustainable? And with a 6-point lead again over Arsenal, obviously they've got a game in hand. Is there a potential, if that isn't sustainable, that they could actually drop this title? Because it doesn't feel possible a couple of weeks ago, but now I'm not sure.
I want to get involved in this one. And one thing you have to remember is it's the game that they got in hand. That is a banana skin. Let's not just talk about Nottingham Forest. Don't play around. The last game at Everton, Goodison Park, and the later that game gets in, if they are in relegation, you will get a superhero performance. That's when form goes out the window. We have to do something, especially if Everton know they are about to win the league. We saw it last. We were the catalyst. We done the FA Cup to him, and then their season literally just fell to pieces. And Everton turned up, and Everton won. Let's never forget that. They never
It was their last game against Klopp, and obviously it would be the last Goodison derby as well, wouldn't it? So what a momentous occasion. I just have to touch on the Sean Dyche interview where he said, well, if you put a few wins in it, it's actually quite a good record. What a guy he is. He is fucking class.
But can I go on the other side of this? I've been saying this over and over again. The title is Liverpool's. They've lost one game all season. And we're saying, they could have a blip in form. Salah could not turn up in a couple of games.
Arsenal have only lost 2. Arsenal have only lost 2.
Yeah, fair enough, but they've also drawn 7. So, true. Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal are the benchmark that we need to be going on. If you're pinning your hopes on Liverpool dropping it, I don't think you should be necessarily pinning your hopes on Arsenal. They haven't been that.
I wouldn't be surprised if City catching Arsenal.
That's possible. Absolutely.
Wouldn't surprise me.
You know what? As well,
it's one of those joy predictions. So I never laugh at a joy prediction anymore.
Yeah, because even England, he's always
random ones.
Previous,
mate. I was looking at it. I was looking at the points gap, and I was having a look, and I was going, "What's the most points gap that's ever been made up?" I was wrong in the end. I thought it was City. City have made up 10, I think, twice. 13 points at the moment, obviously a game in hand. City are 13 points off the top of the table. I think the most that's ever been made up was 13 points by Man United. Was that over Newcastle? 99 or 98 or whatever.
I love it.
But all I'm saying is
genuinely, that's still in my head every time Man United play. Every single time.
Newcastle got 5 wins out of 5. Forest until maybe later on tonight are 5 wins out of 5. Could be 6 wins out of 6. However, with both of those teams, I look at it and I'm like, God, that's mad you've done that. That's really good in a very, very competitive league. What I'm saying is Manchester City to go and get 6-7 wins out of 7 and whatnot. It would surprise me on the form of how they've been this season, but at the same time, there's something very boring about City where it wouldn't really surprise me. And if you do that, you're probably either breathing down Arsenal's neck or you're ahead of them, and then you are putting pressure on Liverpool. So I'm not saying Man City are going to go and win the title, but would it shock me if they finished 3 points off of it, 4 points off of it? It wouldn't shock me at all.
The easy thing about it is the challenger is Arsenal, and Arsenal shoot themselves in the foot at many a moments. You know, if Arsenal was serious, they will go into this window and get what they need. They'd literally say, you know what, we're thereabouts. Let's try and do something. And the thing with Arsenal is I think we're all kind of resigned to knowing I doubt they're going to bring anyone serious in the window to really push on and try to win this thing. And that's the mistake that they're making. Arsenal are right there. And they need to do something in the market just to send a message to Liverpool, because 8 points, if let's say Liverpool went 8 points clear, I think the mental edge is there. They've kind of opened the door to Arsenal, but we can't be for sure that Arsenal are not going to go and draw their next game.
Yeah,
that's the one thing where
the thing about it is the points gap is makeable, but Arsenal just don't look like it to me, as Josh has kind of pointed out. They're just not ruthless enough. They're not potent enough in front of goal. We'll wrap it up there, lads. It's been a great chat. What a fucking game it was. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to me and all the boys. We'll see you on the next one.